Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Autopsy with Maddee P. I'm your host, Maddee P. Girl. How's it cracking, Queen? I missed you. Did you miss me? I guess I'll start by saying I've got the vid, girls. I've got the COVID today. I know what you're thinking. You're insane. Why are you filming today? Because it hasn't hit me full force yet, and we want success, okay? So we don't just stop. We don't just stop. That's hard for me. I'm actually kind of scared of what it's going to look like to lay in bed for like 4 days. So I'm not crazy. You're crazy. So I'm going to talk slower probably today, which is a lot better for you guys because typically I just sound like I need to be detained and no one is coming to detain me anytime soon. So I look and sound like this. I've been laying in bed all day. And it's football season, okay? As you girls know, and guys, it's been brought to my attention I am often directly speaking to the girls, but that's all I care about is the girls. Sorry about that one. That's never going to change. I'm a Southern Belle. I'm a Southern girl. Southern Belle's a reach. That would mean I have pride in it. I'm just Southern, just as in being from the place. I come from a huge football father, obsessed with football. My little sister loves football. My family members, most anyone near me loves football. I don't care. I love football for the unity it brings, okay? That's my congregation right there is football. It used to be like way more fun when I drank. I used to love it, okay? I also clung to this idea that I might learn about football if I drank. Yeah, that's out the window. So now I really have no reason to care. But something about the fall air, I'm now understanding to boys, that's like their PSL. PSL is pumpkin spice latte. Get on it, bitch. Get on it. That's their PSL. They feel that crisp, warm air, and they see like the Gronk on screen. Is that his name? Did I get that right? And you guys want to know something funny that I do every year? My sister found this funny, and I thought this was like normal girl behavior, but I guess it's a little bit crazy. Big surprise there. Every year, I Google hot Chiefs players. My dad is a Chiefs fan. I was born a Chiefs fan. This is not because of Taylor or because of whatever. It's been that way since I was little. I sound like I'm local. I don't care about football. I say again, oh my God. So I Google hot Chiefs players every year. Do you guys do that? Like, is that normal behavior? I feel like that's normal for girls to do. I need to know because my dad and my sister, these people are like watching the screen for the actual game of what's happening. My brain is moving so slow because of the COVID. I'm sorry. Because of the actual thing at hand. But I memorize the numbers of the hot guys and then I just watch them. And I'm just like, yay, go hot boys. I am now in my getting a man's era, though, so that's going to be depleting soon, and unfortunately means I'll probably actually have to fucking learn what a fourth down is. Don't care. Probably will never learn. Now, I've got some warm-ups for us today, girls. I guess I'll start by saying, speaking of football, did you guys know, I hope you didn't, because if you're here, you do not know about football, that the spouses and like the direct family of the NFL players have to pay for their own tickets? What the fuck is that? That's insane to me. I watched this video of not Taylor Swift's husband, but the other one that looks like her husband. Kelsey. The Eagles Kelsey. His wife was like talking about them paying for tickets. $4,000 for their daughter who's not going to sit down. Sorry? What the fuck? That's irate to me. It's like, but Taylor has like 50,000 backstage passes she could give out. I don't understand that. Especially for like, I feel like the NFL is very like family oriented. Like you can't like beat women and like do drugs. But not going to hand out a ticket though. Don't bring your kids to the game, please. Bad press. Okay. I can already tell this is going to be a rough episode to edit. I can just already tell. I've got this blanket on and it's already hot because I've got a fucking literal temperature right now. I honestly also can't believe I'm filming this today, but it's more warm-ups. And I've been on the internet all day and it's just, I have things to say. Jeez. In recent breaking news, Well, there's actually been a lot of breaking news recently. And I'm not getting political, but tragedy is striking. Continues to strike, everyone. So hide your wife, hide your kids, stay indoors. Thank you. There was recently a Thailand temple, Buddhist temple. 1/3 of the monks tested positive for meth. That's right, meth. Somebody commented and was like, okay, fine, I learned it on TikTok. Shit, is that what you want to hear? When someone commented, that's what you got to do to reach that avatar state. Oh. Them boys is tooted out in the Thailand. Out in the Thailand? Jesus God. I sound like Gronk today. Am I right about this? Boys, comment down below. Is Gronk the dumb football player guy that everyone's always making fun of? And he like took a shot and slammed it on the ground. There's like glass sticking out of this girl's cheek. I think I even saw that on Basement Yard. Basement? Okay. We got to get it together. For the monks, guys. There was guns there. You think it helped them pray better to be methed up? Curiosity strikes me once again. In the best forms. I could not believe that news when I saw it. And there's guns there. The motherfucker's going in. I hope someone somewhere is writing a movie on that because I would watch. Speaking of watch, I'm going to binge watch The Purge today. Every year, Insidious, Sinister, Purge. That's the lineup. Pretty Little Liars. Now I've got Wednesday I'm going to be watching, but I'm trying to save it for really cold weather because I have not had my first PSL yet. It's just not time. The house is decorated though. I think I give you guys a fall update every week. I'm like, so this is what's happening in my fall world. Okay. Oh, hey, Maddie, you've been talking about the plague a lot. Yeah, sure have. I always talk about the plague. It's just a part of my normal routine is thinking and or speaking about the plague. And I think I pulled something into the universe because in Tahoe, somebody has the fucking plague. Case recorded of the plague. He got it from a flea. I'm not saying that was my doing, but I'm also not saying that was my doing. I have been preying on the plague's downfall. And I got COVID. What's happening? I need to fix this energy. And every time I record, Ellie just looks so cute. I want to throw her in the river. Also, we're going to do, I guess, because we're going to keep this episode. It's lighthearted. It's short today. Mommy's sick. Okay? How many times do I have to say that? I'm definitely one of those people. It's like, I'm sick. And I live alone, so, and I can't like go out and buy items. Doesn't matter. So I'm just kind of like, here. We're doing a fun fact again this week. This one isn't so much of a fun fact as it is a horrible and sad fact. There is a sweet whale. He is the loneliest whale on Earth because his calls echo location. We're not even going to try that. His noises, his whale noises, are 52 something. And then 52, whatever the measurement of whale decibels is, which is astronomically higher than his female counterparts. So he's just lonely and no one will mate him. So, but he's still himself. And that's what you have to learn from the situation is that he never stopped being himself. And he knows he's loud. Or does he? Also, another lesson learned. Men that are loud don't get the bitch. So if you are a man listening, that's another lesson to be learned from that whale. Okay, girls. I think that's all I have for warm-ups today. Did I mention I have COVID? I'm going to keep doing that just to be a bitch. My hair is not in the middle part and it's to the side, and I just feel like I'm on a 90s fucking sitcom right now. If I can't scuba, what's this all been about? I do look like a 90s bomb, but that's okay. B.O.B., so you calling me Bob. Today, my sweet angels, what are we talking about? What's going on? Sorry about that. I'm too relaxed. Today. Okay, these last few weeks, we have done a lot of mental health investigation, if you will. I have been scouring thine soul for just bullshit. And the dark crevices just seem to keep producing things for me to deal with. So the last few weeks have been very personalized and very mental health focused, okay? So this week, I thought we'd go back to kind of just some alcoholism basics and maybe perhaps de-influencing you from drinking alcohol. Now, I started this podcast so that people who are sober curious and or maybe don't have a problem or are teetering on a problem or aren't sure where they stand have somewhere to go to so that they're like, wait, do I have a problem? How did this girl do it? Does she think I have a problem? Blah, blah, blah. First of all, the only way you can find a problem is within yourself, okay? But you questioning and analyzing it is a very first step. So I want to go back to our basics and talk about some alcoholism things and how my life changed for the better and for the worse, honestly. And what I think I feel like telling you today. Okay, so when I look around at my fellow peers, at my fellow generation, and those a little bit older than me too, I just think kind of this period of life not associated with boomers. I look around and what do I see? Stress. Everybody is stressed the fuck out, honestly. And I want to say that I think there's a few reasons for this. I think one, we were handed a rat race that we wanted no fucking say in. Okay? And I think we are also a bunch of peoples who are rallying around ending generational trauma. I think that's a common theme amongst us as individuals. So it's causing us to question our leaders, our country, our parents, our jobs, the rat race, just all of society in general. And I think we were all questioning it naturally as individuals. So we were just looking around and there's just fire burning behind us and we're just like, what the fuck is going on? And none of us want any part of it. None of us want to work that much. All of us want to be on that Italian, European, they get a break for an hour type shit. I know that's what I want to be on. So I think that causes a lot of stress in us naturally. And then I also think because of like social medias and specifically TikTok, honestly, we like bond through this and we are collectively like unified in our mourning of our childhood and of not getting to live life to the fullest because that's actually impossible. That's not an option that you get. If you enter the workforce normal, you go to college, you do this normal shit, you are not given the option of joy. Or at least constant joy. Or you know what I'm trying to say. Okay, you get what I'm saying. I'm leaving that there. And I think we unite through this and they're like we see each other online talking about how much we fucking hate it and we're living for the weekend and yada yada yada. So I think this generation, oh my God, this generation, part of our questioning of sobriety and of alcohol, I think has to do with our questions towards society because we understand now that, you know, the way we cope and the way we handle things can't be constantly through substance or through alcohol because we were taught at a young age, you don't use substances, you don't use alcohol. Oh my God, that word is really funny. Generations before us were encouraged almost. Hey, use tobacco, which I still use, thank you. Hey, use alcohol, use drugs, that works. That's how you fit into everything. And at least I was raised to look for signs of that stuff. You dare, guys. They didn't have fucking dare back then. So I think that these are reasons for our stress kind of running rampant. Okay. And then obviously, like I said, a lot of people are getting sober. And I don't know if I'm wrong for saying this, but this might be bad, but we're not here to be correct. Honestly, are we? When I look around at those people as well, oftentimes they live a very low stress lifestyle. They're in a low stress environment and they often have money. My friends or people that I hear talking about their difficulties with alcohol or they want to break or they want to change, they have no fucking money. So just like oh my God, actually, what the fuck? The generations before that who were encouraged to lean on drugs and alcohol to deal with stress and cope with stress. That's where their brain is kind of at because they are caught in that cycle that we're going to kind of talk about here. A main takeaway of this is something I'm kind of talking about a little more obvious things today, but I'm de-influencing you, okay? So if you're curious, sober curious, and you're looking for a right time in your life to get sober, that does not exist. And you're going to hear that and see that fucking everywhere. It's kind of like, I feel like people say that with a kid. There is no right time. Yeah, there's fucking not. Because you just end up, it gets harder and harder the more that your life is infiltrated by the chaos of alcoholism and or just alcohol in general. This isn't even about alcoholism. Just alcohol and partying and nightlife. It just gets more and more chaotic. Even if you're just a weekend binge drinker, even if there's a full week in between, that weekend catches up. So that weekend is like no days past and you're going to be worse the next weekend. That's how alcohol works. Does that make sense to you? So it's not, you don't get those rest days and then go back. You're still at this, when alcohol touches your lips again from last weekend, you're still at that high that it provided you. So things are going to get worse and more chaotic and are going to drink more and make worse decisions and spend more fucking money. And I didn't understand that's how alcohol worked, honestly. So I thought, if I take like a 4-day break from drinking, that's 4 days and I did nothing wrong. And I was literally in my head like, oh, well, this one glass of wine is going to do me well then, right? I'm going to save some money here. No, I still needed just as much, if not more, to be shit-faced. And not to be even more obvious, but I think there's like 2 situations that we can analyze here, okay? There's the situation where you work for 5 days a week. And I don't work 9 to 5, but normal people and most people that I know in my life do. So I'm also trying to equate myself to understanding the 9 to 5 lifestyle and the brain aspect that goes into that. My brain is structured so differently because of my job. But I understand that's not normal. So say you go to work for 5 days a week. When you're going into that next week, you're broke. You have no fucking money, which is what broke means. You feel like absolute shit. And then you made some probably not good decisions based on your level of self-sabotage and where you stand on bad decision making and how much you black out. I'm looking at you. You're walking into the week with that anxiety, with that disaster. And that's how you were going to start your week. And mind you, part of this makes me feel like life is fucking set up this way. Because you're spending more and more money each time you do this, which means you have to go back and make more and more money to be stuck in the same cycle of hating your life. And it's something, I don't think it's designed like this. I think this is a natural human way of coping. And it's a generational thing that has been passed down. So I think it's just like naturally how us as humans shaped society and shaped the workforce versus it being like set up this way, like conspiracy style. Like there are certain things that are set up a certain way, like poverty and like just like certain things. But this seems more of a societal situation. So we've got A. That's how you can spend your weekend. Remembering nothing, mind you, and having absolutely no rest, which rest is key word. I did not recognize now how much rest absolutely saves your life and actually genuinely reconstructs your brain and your perspectives and your peace. And that should be something that's obvious. But to me, sleep, especially at this age, needs to be the number one most important thing on our radar above anything. Rest and sleep, because that's how we're going to get our brain back in order and our life back in order. So yeah, you could walk into your week with no rest. Or we have option B, where we chill all weekend. And you know what? This is the hack, because you get to do actually what you fucking want. Because what you want to do, you don't want to go out and get shit-faced in front of that guy. You don't. You would rather him see you on your Instagram story, walking in a cute park, looking fine. Sorry. I'm sorry. We're blaming that on COVID. Looking fine as shit, maybe with a drink in hand and you got a cute outfit on and your makeup actually looks good and your skin's glowing and like you look alive. You would rather him see you on that Instagram story because you're the girl of his dreams now. Not the one that he can just pick up off the street. Not the one that he sees every weekend with her ass out. She's looking for another man. Nothing wrong with that, okay? But, and not like everyone's life is structured on men. I'm just trying to reach into where you're at, okay? And I know this is kind of where my brain process goes. Sometimes tends to be with men. So we can do that all weekend. Actually do what you want. Hit up that museum. Go out with your girls, actually hang out with people, maybe go see your parents. And if you're a workout girl, go to that hot Pilates class, get your actual workout in, and you can actually eat healthy and feel just rejuvenated. And that that scaredness of relaxation at the end of the night is something that I think I deal with as an alcoholic, or dealt with more so. And this is an interesting concept too. Well, actually, I don't know if we'll talk about this, but the night is, there is something philosophical. Damn, I'm sorry. Like, certain big words are really hard today. What is the word I'm looking for? It happens inside your body. Starts with a P. Anyways, there's actually an effect where nighttime your stress levels are rising to the surface. When that sun is going down, there's a reason that sundowners and people with Alzheimer's and stuff like that start panicking at night. You know, like if you have a mom that kind of like wigs out at night, there's a reason for that. Something fucked up happens in your brain. And I don't want to touch on it too much because this was a really big, extremely stressful trigger, and it's something I still face now to this day. So I am going to talk to you guys about that more as a whole, and also when I start to understand that myself, and we'll do a whole episode on it. So I'm not going to go too far into it. Anyways, that does go away too. I don't know if I suffer with that because I am disease ridden, or if that is something that everyone faces to some degree of being scared of that nighttime. But I'm telling you, bitch, when you curl up and make it a fantasy novel, I'm telling you, girls, me and these fucking books, I'm telling you, girl, you got to pull out that thing where he's like touching the inner thigh, you're getting a kiss in the book, you know, like, just like, that shit is so good. Fantasy book, come on, man. Don't even get me started on ACOTAR right now. Please don't get me started on ACOTAR. That shit feeds me all of that, like, high school romance that I need, because that's what girls want. Yeah, girls want to be banged, sure. No, we want love. We want to be told we're beautiful and just petted. It sounded weird. Was that weird? I don't know. That's what we actually want, okay? And when you're reading a book like that, it feeds your soul in that way. Anyways, I got off tangent like 4 different times. I don't even know what I'm talking about. We're talking about the second recipe. Got it. You're going to bed reading that book. You had a detox tea, perhaps. And if you want hell, indulge in some fucking chocolate. Hell. Eat some sweets. Hell. That is like, I love nighttime for that. Especially days I'm off. Being in bed at 9 o'clock, like after a good workout and like just being clean, it's fantastic. But I don't have to tell you that because you're a smart girl. And the key word in this second weekend is not being embarrassed. That's the key word, because let me tell you, if you, and this is going to be me being kind of hard on you today, if you are past the age of like 23 and you're experiencing constant embarrassment every time you go out, 23 might be a stretch. We can age past a little bit, 24, 25. And every single time you go out, you're experiencing a great bout of embarrassment. Maybe there's something to reflect on, you know? Maybe we have an issue here. Whether it is alcohol, whether it's our structure in life, whether it's how we feel about ourselves, or even how we feel about others, mind you, too. There's something going on here. And I think embarrassment is a really common theme that, oddly enough, ironically enough, leads us right back to alcohol every time. And, you know, that's part of anxiety. And then if you take this second route, obviously, you're set up for the week, girl. You're set up for the whole week. When you walk into a week where everything has been lined up, and that's what I say, we set up Maddee for the next day, because I don't know who she's about to be. I don't know who Monday Maddie's about to be like. I don't know who Tuesday Maddie's about to be like. Thursdays, sometimes I have a little fun. Tuesdays, I could be a little lippy. Sorry. Sorry about it. And if I can set up those days for her to move forward, things are just so smooth and aimless. And then otherwise I get caught in that girl panic where things are falling off the hanger and I am just cussing a fucking storm up. I'm standing in my room about to break this hanger literally in half because my clothes won't go on it properly. So let me ask you, which week are you going to go with? Okay? Come on. Simple answer. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having fun. I don't. Like, if I could still have fun and just, like, go get drunk sometimes casually and that be something that is normal for me, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But unfortunately, we all have these fucked up relationships with alcohol, too. So even though you might not be an alcoholic listening to this, it's not casual half the fucking time. If things aren't casual, you're just going to end up with the same feelings that you had before. Yeah, I'm vaping again. Get over it. So I think, too, At the core of, I'm like out of breath actually from COVID. This is honestly nuts that I'm sitting here doing this. But I think at the pit of all of that and all of the two dichotomies of who we can be on each weekend is, we've touched on this a bit before, but the ideal of relaxation and the fact that it is totally and completely fucked up for us. We don't understand stress. And because our stress levels are so high and we don't know how to cope, we don't know what to do, our relaxation is actually fucked. So that second weekend sounds great until you get there and you actually have to settle and be out of chaos and be out of something that's constantly overstimulating you and making you feel crazy, because you feel like that's the true you, and it's not. The true you is being left behind in the bedroom in the silence. That's where she actually is. Because I thought the true me was that crazy girl, was that party girl dipping it up and down back around for a real one. That's not her. That's not who she's meant to be. And because my relaxation, what I thought it was so fucked up, my brain immediately, when I'm like, okay, time to relax, time to chill, I'm reaching for the wine. I'm reaching for a hot dress. And I'm reaching for the phone to text the girls because we going out. We going on the town, girl. Hot girl summer, except for hot 5 years. Hot 5 year around the clock is what that was. I think one of the most obvious reasons that people tend to get sober, if they're sober curious or whatever, is obviously financial. And let me tell you, I've said it, I don't think I have said this before, but when I was going out, honey, I knew the bartenders. I'm getting my drinks paid for, okay? The main thing I was spending money on was Coke. I was going out to eat before I went out. That's where my money was being spent. I'm at the bar mooching for a real one, getting that tequila shot for the low, for the freeze. But still, not everyone is like that. A lot of normal people, just pay for their own drinks and they're not looking to just get everything for free / steal it. So, not everyone is like me. But the guise of the relaxation with the financial thing is that you are actually caught in this disastrous loop where relaxation is painted by spending money. So then you're fucked and you're stuck in this place where all you want at your core, be honest, girl, is to be financially free to the point that it's itching you and you want to crawl out of your fucking skin. Everybody has that. I don't care. I'm crazy, and I know that there are certain feelings that I have that other people do not understand. That is one that I think you unite with. At your core, you're sick as fuck, and you feel like shit, and you look in the mirror, and you hate your life, and you hate what's going on around you, and that's because you want financial freedom, period. You don't want to deal with paying the bills. You don't want to deal with being stuck in that fucking office. You want freedom. That's what you want. And so spending money on this drinking and going out in this guise of what relaxation is actually keeping you in having to go right back to work Monday, or for me, every day, or whatever your schedule looks like. And it's this false, fucked up narrative because we have to reframe what relaxation is actually supposed to be for us. And I think that looks different person to person. The more that I get into sobriety and the more that I grow through my routine and grow into actually what I'm supposed to be, I realize I only need so much relaxation. And when I feel irritable and relaxation, that's when I sometimes need it the most because my brain is stuck on that financial freedom, on that desperate monster that is crawling at me because it hates me, because it didn't choose the route that went and got me rich immediately. It didn't choose the route of being a doctor, being a lawyer, being whatever. And that's why I'm pissed at myself half the fucking time. And then I get caught in that loop where I think I'm free and I think I love myself and I'm actually pissed off at her, really pissed off at her. And the older I get, the more I realize too, that sometimes for me, relaxation means doing work. In terms of work on myself. So coming home and editing at late hours in the night. Or maybe I do want to go to the gym at this weird hour. Or maybe I do want to clean up the house a little bit. And that's what relaxation looks like for me, because it's me easing my brain into the state. And that's the conflict. We are going from a stressful state to a nothing state. So typically we fill it with scrolling. And that's how we kind of get, I don't know if it's a science behind this or if it's cortisol rates or what it is. That's how we get it to go down. And instead now I'm trying to fill that with, okay, maybe I work a little more on things that I truly love or things that bring me peace, like my nesting. I'm in my nesting era. You guys all know this. If you're 25, you're probably in your nesting era. That's why you like to clean and do certain shit. You're in your nesting era. Okay, that's fine. And so that's how you're going to get your cortisol levels back down to normal. And that's how I feel like for me, that's how I realized I can reframe what relaxation is. Because even after months of being in sobriety, of not going out, and months of doing this, I was stressed the fuck out. I was freaking out and I could not get my bones to just fucking settle and enjoy being calm and enjoying being in a space of where I am. And I think if you're being completely honest with yourself, you don't even like going out. Do you? You're grown. You know what you like? You like looking hot. I don't know if I've said that before or not. 98% of me going out, the other 2% being Coke and alcohol. The thing that got me out the door, the thing that kept me out was the Coke and alcohol. But the thing that got me out of the fucking door was looking hot. And I don't know what psychologically that means about us. That's what you want. And you can do that in other ways. This is what Instagram is for, girls. Post that mirror pic. Get dressed up and chill at your house. And y'all know, especially if you follow me on TikTok, I dated myself for months on end because I just missed. There's something in my brain about being in a hot dress and having a cute glass, whether it's martini glass or a glass of wine. There's something in that my girl soul just wants so desperately. And because I think that's what relaxation is or was. And so instead I would date myself. I would take myself wherever I wanted, out to eat, doing whatever. Sometimes I would just dress up and take pictures. Dress up and hang out in the house and make a mocktail and end up watching a movie, doing whatever. There are ways to replace that feeling. But I think it isn't about how you fix that, but me telling you and bringing to the surface for you to recognize that you just want to look fucking hot. Nothing wrong with that. I think flaunt it while you got it, girl. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think that also kind of cycles into this age situation which is another episode we have, but where we're just stressed out about being old and looking like shit. And that's not just stressful, it's fear. It's utterly terrifying. I think that kind of plays into this guise where that's what, flaunt it while we have it before we get old. I'm not going to have these days anymore. And we cling so scarily to this era of our life that we are told time and time again, this is the best. You don't get it back. You don't get it back. I was told that when I was in high school. Fuck high school. I don't miss that shit. And I don't know if that's just me that parts with that, but after each go out or weekend, if you will, in your terms, or doing whatever I was doing, by the time I was 24 waiting tables, I was stressed the fuck out. Stressed. That monster of wanting financial freedom had clawed its way through my skin and I could barely breathe. I was so stressed out. No real responsibilities. I was living rent-free, basically. So I had very little bills, if barely any at all. And basically pretty much no responsibility. I was living with my parents, so they even took care of Ellie half the time because I was a bad mom. And I loved her deeply and I was with her, but she had somewhere to be while I went and drank for hours on end. I don't have that luxury now living alone. Anyways, that's not a luxury. I don't know why I said that. I use that word. But by the time that my brain would catch up to me, I was completely just overwhelmed. I was horribly overwhelmed. And it wasn't even because there was anything on my plate. It's because I was catching up. And that's what I fear each week looks like for a lot of girls, is that you feel overwhelmed and stressed out. And it's no, you're just catching up. You're behind. That's what it is. And I think it's important to recognize that you have the time now. It's kind of like the same theory of flaunt it while you got it, because you can't just escape that fear of all of that, but you can elect a new fear in you while you're working on that and replace that fear with fuck, I only have so much time. But that's a different type of fear, an encouraging type of fear, if you will. And not that I'm trying to encourage you to instill fear in your life, but I want to make this something that feels more obtainable to you, because it is. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. And I'm talking about not just people with an alcohol problem, people that don't have an alcohol problem. And this isn't about how we fix things, it's about how we move forward sometimes, and just getting to the step where we don't drink anymore, because we can go back and fix all of this. But it helped too to have this encouraging fear where if I don't get my shit together and I can't enjoy relaxation, I can't enjoy the calm down, I can't enjoy building, which is what this chapter is. And that is way more important than you losing you being hot, if that makes sense. You losing this time where you have the brain power, you have all the time in the world, you don't have kids, you don't have to deal with shit. You losing this building block is way worse than you losing you being hot on Instagram. And it doesn't feel like that. But I think replacing those two fears is something that you could introduce to your life that might help you with quitting drinking and moving forward in a more calm pace. And the feeling of you not being enough is not going to go away because you look hot at night. That will go away when you are stable financially, emotionally, physically. That's when that goes away. Not because it's not going to disappear because you look hot on that one night, because there is always going to be a hotter girl that walks into that bar. Sorry. Always. There's always some hot ass bitch that crawls out of the crevice just when you thought you were looking grand. Okay? And you know where a really hot girl doesn't walk into? Your bedroom. Well, unless you're lucky. Shit. Into your own home. Into the home of your friends. Into your living room. It's an easy fix because you're filling nothing but time. That's what's going on. And it feels like pain. It hurts. And I know it hurts you. And I think because of that, people want to go and say quitting alcohol is easy because they know secretly to some degree they're in some sort of pain. And that might not be revolving around alcohol. And I think if you feel that way, obviously it is. But it's an embarrassment behind it where you feel a pain and a general shame. And sometimes that's just how we feel about our lives and how we feel about ourselves. And so, we lie and we say that we're not in pain or we don't feel like shit and that we're not actually filling our time and we're not stressed and we're able to relax, and it hurts. And that's why you want to go look hot. It's important to recognize too that alcohol will always make you see the worst version of yourself. You doing your makeup and looking hot and that getting ready situation that clicks after that first drink into space for just a second where you feel on top of the world and you feel so hot, that shit lasts. Once you hit the second drink, maybe even third, it's gone. That shit is gone. One drink confidence only lasts for so long. And from there, you're going to feel like shit. And you're going to feel like shit. So I just recognize that alcohol is never going to allow me to see the best version of myself or look for that in her. My focus is now elsewhere. Obviously, I'm operating at a different rate because I am an alcoholic. So then my focus from that one shift confidence quickly moves to how do I get more alcohol and this relationship that I have with alcohol that's stuck in my brain from there on out. How drunk I'm going to get, how good I'm going to feel, and hopefully how loud I'm going to laugh and how much fun I'm going to have. But that's a guise. It's really how fucking drunk I'm going to get. It's not how much fun I'm going to have or, how much I'm going to bond with these people or the best sex I'm going to have or whatever it is. That's not what it is. It's me lying to myself because it's truly just how fucked up I'm going to get. And that's what I care about, because I think all of us to some degree are chasing that high. And it's a high of life that we're looking for. It's not even the high of being drunk or using drugs or whatever your deal is. It's the yearn for life and for more laughter and for more unity and for more peace. And for some reason, we think in relaxation that looks like the bottom of a bottle, or it has to. Because you can go out with your friends and not be drunk. And I know, it's like, fucking buzzkill, come on. Sometimes I joke at work and I'm like, God, everyone's fucking sober nowadays. Y'all gonna have a little fun? Because I want people to buy alcohol. And it sounds like a buzzkill situation, but it's not, because you can recognize that what you're looking for is life. And that's what your soul is looking for. And you don't have to deal with all the cloggedness of that relaxation bullshit and of fake fun that you're trying to impose on yourself because you feel like you should be having more fun and you're not. And that's because you hate yourself or you hate your life or whatever. And that's okay. But you don't have to force this fun. And that's where the alcohol comes into play. And that's what's happening. But when you go out and you go out without drinking or you go out without using, that's when you can see it for what it is and when the genuine fun does come in. And I don't know if that sounds like fucking Mother Teresa, but as somebody with a problem, that's what it took for me to see that life, when you go walk into a bar not being drunk, it looks so different. The people look like shit. The music is shit. The drinks taste like shit. The music, which I say the music's shit already, just everything looks like shit, honestly. And what is beautiful is that girl that's standing right in front of you, your best friend, and the funny things she's going to tell you that happened during this week, or the great laughter that she gets to share with you. And that you recognize by the time you leave that it was not worth that drink. It totally was not. Because I don't care what anyone says. One is not enough for fucking anyone. unless you're a lawyer or doctor and you're a smart person and you've got your shit together. It's not. And we are scared to say that, I think, because we want to be the person that can just have fun. And we lie to ourselves and we say that we are just the person that can have fun. And it's okay that you're not. That doesn't make you a piece of shit. And it doesn't make you a monster. And it doesn't make you boring. It makes you a normal person that's dealing with a normal amount of stress in your life. And again, you've overflooded your plate because you're trying to catch up and you're in emotional duress. And sometimes it's hard to look to behind you and look into you and see that emotional duress for what it is and see that you hate yourself. But that's what it is. And you're just kind of like covering it all up. And there's a freedom that can exist in that, where you still have to go to work on Monday, and that emotional, that financially unstable person on the inside doesn't stop clawing all the way, but it's different now. And what you were looking for out of life and your perspective and stuff naturally starts to change. And I think another thing too with that, if you're curious about quitting drinking or you want to quit drinking, is quitting alcohol does not have to flip your life upside down. Some things I repeat from previous episodes, but I think they need to be heard more than others. And that one of those things is that, and we learned this in the program, and obviously I'm speaking more to different walks of life today, but is that what we do as alcoholics, as addicts, is we keep things the same. So when we quit drinking, we quit our use, we are encouraged to keep our life the same. We're not going and getting new jobs. We're not going and getting new boyfriends and girlfriends, buying new stuff, moving, doing whatever. It's encouraged that we remain the same. And that's for the reason that our life is going to get stressed out. Because naturally, when you start to fix the alcohol or drug use or whatever sector of your life, you go, well, I'm shit. And you go, damn. When you see things for what they are, you're like, there's a lot that needs fixing here. And that can sometimes get a little stressful, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can quit drinking and eat like shit. You can quit drinking and not work out. You can quit drinking and still go to the fucking mall and spend half your money. Not that I'm encouraging that behavior, but you don't have to fix everything at once. You can just quit drinking. And that can be the only thing you focus on. You don't have to fix everything in your life. Suck that vape right down your throat. Who cares? Encourage yourself. And that's something that's really hard to find whenever you're fixated on fixing every aspect of your life, because we want to have fun and we feel like we're giving that up when we quit drinking. And that's, I'm here to tell you that is 1000% not the case. I have more fun now than I have ever had in my life. Do I regret being a drunk? No. Do I regret my drunk days? No. Did I have some of the best days I've had in my life while drunk and shit-faced? 1000%. But I can have way more fun now. I sound like I'm trying to convince you of that. Or am I trying to convince myself of that? I sound like a prude. And I promise I'm not a fucking prude. And I think a fun goal from there of not drinking and trying to understand maybe your relaxation and your peace and what that looks like. One thing that I kind of focused on too, and I think is a main takeaway for a lot of people go through this, and I did this before I ever really got sober. So when I was trying to quit drinking or I was trying to change my patterns, I kind of fixated on something very normal, but regulating how I go to sleep or how I eat. So that, because I used to always, this is kind of, I don't know if this is going to make sense to you, but I always, originally, active use, active alcoholism, TV had to be blaring, completely blaring. TV on, hopefully falling asleep mid-TV so I don't have to think, mid-podcast, whatever, specifically Zane and Heath Unfiltered, if you know, you know, or cancel podcast. If you know, you know. And from there, slowly things would change. And then also, whenever I got sober this time and things actually clicked and worked, it was podcasts. Things were still podcasts. And then slowly I tried to make it rain sounds, okay? And switch to reading, hoping to fall asleep with the book in my hand so I don't have to think that much. And now I'm to a point where I can just go to sleep in a silent, dark room, which for some reason was something that I yearned for. It's this level of normalcy. And again, I think sleep is a foundation and it's super important because then we're not so fucked up in how we think about all this stuff. We're much more coordinated in our thought processes. And I think that's a good goal to have, that if you're somebody that sleeps with blaring TV and you want to quit drinking and stuff, focus on those little things. Something just like that is eating too. For me, I used to always have to get high to eat, honestly, half the time. or have something playing in front of me to enjoy food, or like watching something on my phone, and still at times, yes. And today, hell yeah, I'm about to lay in bed and eat some fucking food, girl. It tastes better that way. I can't even lie to you, girl. But then basic things like food and eating are just like normal. I don't know how to describe that. And unassisted, I think, is as lacking assistance in your life to control your emotions. Our relief is heightened around emotion. And so we look to, why are we not feeling this relief that we're supposed to get with sleeping or with eating or these normal things? It's because we're not regulated. Our nervous system is not regulated. And I don't know if maybe that's what it is at the pit of me talking about these assisted, very normal things. It's an assistance of our nervous system kind of getting back in order. Because they say it takes 6 months for alcohol to leave the system, truly. From the last day you took a drop of alcohol, 6 months for you to kind of get back into regular flow. That's kind of a long time. And we have to work with ourselves during that time instead of turning our back and saying, well, you can't fucking sleep and you can't fucking eat or do anything. Because I also had to be drunk to eat too. I don't know why I bring that up. I don't know. I thought that might be a tidbit to help you. And I think I wrote this, when I fucking smoked crack or something. Because what the fuck? And I wrote, and this is truth, to go with that, even though I finished that sentence already. It's kind of a lack of dependence. And I don't know if that has to look like your relationship to your parents or what life was like for you as a child, or I think it's different maybe why you struggle in those sectors for everyone, but there's a lack of independence, whatever, maybe both, that exists there. And if your building blocks are not there, then you're just out of whack. And that's what that shows. And to go back to the fun aspect, which is the main reason people don't get sober, whether they have a problem, whether they don't, whether they want to quit drinking for a few months, whatever it is this fun situation. And I think we are scared to close chapters of our lives because we're not emotionally fed. Honestly. It was horrifying for me to close my childhood life to the point it caused me to use drugs and alcohol. And we've talked about it a million times. I don't need to beat a dead horse. I was then horrified to end the chapter of my teens and my partying in my 20s. And that's because I was not emotionally fed. And I did not feel like I got what I wanted out of those periods of my life, but I did. And I played a game with myself that I wasn't filled and that I didn't collect everything that I'm supposed to collect. I don't know if that pressure I put on myself is normal and if that's something that you feel in relation to your fun with alcohol, but you need to learn how to close chapters and move on. I was fed. I was fine. I got everything I needed out of my life from all those chapters. I was scared to become a woman, and I was scared to get wrinkles, and I was scared to not have fun anymore. And so I could not close the chapter and march into adulthood in this way. And that included months of me in my sobriety, really struggling around that topic until I hit a point where I decided I'm just going to walk into my womanhood. This is what I want. I want to be a woman, and I want to grow, and I want to move on from this part of my life. And that took a lot. It took a lot of wisdom, and it took a lot of getting over fears. It took a lot of stress. It took a lot. We mourn because our perspective is glued to what could have been instead of what is going to be. And that's why we mourn those periods of our lives. And I mourned, I don't know if I already said this, but I mourned for months and months. It was really hard for me to move on. And that's because alcohol was my personality too. And it could be yours. You don't have to be an alcoholic for alcohol to be a personality. Maybe you struggle. Just saying, not my business. But that was everything to me. That was my full personality of who I was. And it was really hard for me to let that go. And I had to actively make the decision and change my perspective to stop mourning her. And then I'm not missing anyone. I'm standing right fucking here. And I went through so many cycles in my life where it felt like I was gone. And that's because I didn't know who I was too. And that could be the case for yourself. You don't know who you are. And so you feel like she's just missing. And that's not the case. I'm standing right fucking here. And that was a really common theme that I kind of circled throughout my entire life, not just with drinking. And that was an emptiness that I felt that I couldn't rationalize. And I self-medicated to help that. And I couldn't understand it, whatsoever. And so I think, it's just about finally putting your foot down. Because when you get caught in mourning, in that type of mourning, an emotional mourning, it doesn't just end. It doesn't just go away. You don't just grow out of it. At least myself, I'm also somebody who struggles obviously from mental health disorders and is a psychopath. So that's not something that just goes away. I didn't grow out of it. The more I got sober, I didn't grow out of it. I had to make that decision. Very apparent, holy shit, and very permanent for myself, that I was not going to look back at these sectors of my life and feel like I was missing out, because I'm building now. My perspective doesn't have to be on what used to be. And I think that's because too, the liquor was never enough to fix that. And I've heard that before in the rooms. I don't know where I've heard it, but they say liquor is not strong enough to fix the emotional pain I'm in. And that's the truth for yourself too. It's not strong enough. You're going over it instead of going through it emotionally or with whatever you're dealing with. And whether that's because the financial beast, because you hate your life, because you're 9 to 5, whether it's an emotional situation, whether you hate yourself, whether you hate the boy that you're stuck with and you sleep next to every day and you don't have the courage to get up and get over and break up with him and move fucking on. It's not strong enough to fix you. Your Vyvanse, not strong enough to fix you. Your Vyvanse, not strong enough to fix the week for you, because you're going to end up drinking on the weekend again because you have Vyvanse in your system. And I'm just saying, I'm trying to relate, and I know that a lot of people use Adderall. I know I used a lot of Adderall too, and it's just not strong enough. None of that shit is strong enough. Go through it and stop trying to go over it and go under it and go all around your issues. The only way is through. And our brains too, to help you with understanding, getting over the fact that things might not be fun anymore. Because it's true, things can get more boring, but we regulate and we learn the peace and control. We learn the peace and regulation and doing more boring things. That does become fun. And now my fucking psychotic ass, when I sit down, I enjoy to journal. I enjoy to clean. I enjoy that stuff in my life. That's not boring to me. To me now, as a sober person, when I go sit in the club, I am bored. Usually. When I'm typically going out to a bar, going out to do whatever, I am more than likely bored. Sorry. Because I'm not drunk. I'm not participating. And so bored and fun, all this stuff is up to your perspective. My mom, when we were younger, always taught me that bored should not be in your vocabulary. And I told myself that. I'm so glad that she taught me that lesson, because I told myself that all through my sobriety. Bored, I would say all the time, bored should not be in my vocabulary. Just like how we talk about FOMO, and I've said it before, that, FOMO is up to you. If you're living your life for you based on your experience, what you actually truly enjoy, which is something you now get to investigate on the weekends because you have the time. You can partake in those hobbies and do those things. And maybe you won't know. Maybe it takes you weekends and weekends and weekends and weekends of exploring to find what is fun for you. That shit is not fucking fun, and you're lying to yourself if you say it's fucking fun. And it's important to remember that our brains themselves do not function out of happiness. Our brains are not looking for happiness. Our brains are a survival instinct. That's what our brains are operating out of. They're not looking for you to go have fun. They're not looking for you to be happy. And stop being hard on yourselves because you're not having happiness, because you're not having fun. You're being way too hard on yourself about it. Your brain is trying to fucking survive. And the more that you give it a reason to survive and want to survive, or that it's healthy and it can move on and explore more fun things or be more curious in different reaches of your life, that's when you can provide for yourself, and that's when you can have fun. You're stressing yourself the fuck out, and your instincts are through the roof because your brain just wants to make it to the next day. So you don't need to be so hard on yourself for that. Defying myself, and this has been a theme too, I think, that we've been talking about the last few weeks, because it was pivotal for me. The best decision I make would be defying myself and defying this girl that just wants to have fun and get fucked and go put on and go put on a small dress and do what she does for a real one or whatever. And I had to defy her and tell her, no, you're a fucking menace. And the itching and all the crazy shit that was going through my brain, I had to defy that day after day. And that's something that is up to you, because you're defying the small part of yourself that craves chaos. Because I promise the rest of you is craving relaxation. It's craving peace. And it's craving fun in a way that you don't understand yet, because you haven't given yourself the chance to go try. And it honestly, chaos was never peace for me, like I thought it was. And I thought that to the next degree. So I imagine you and your normal sweet, sweet girl brain is not to that place. But it didn't take long for me for the the new perspective, the new girl to come in that I was yearning for, the new womanhood, once I put my foot down, all the stuff that I was looking for, that became so exciting and so invigorating for me. And that did not take long. And it doesn't take long. Like, having patience during that period is really important, because it wasn't weeks of time. It was like, it wasn't months and months of time. It was a few weeks before I realized what I was fighting for was this girl that I had never met before. It wasn't the girl that I know in and out every weekend embarrassing the shit out of myself. It's somebody I never met. And I was super excited to meet her, as cringy as that fucking sounds. And 2, your friends love you. Your friends love the shit out of you. I had people in my life who openly hated that I didn't drink anymore. Hated it. And I don't blame them. Like, I love them still to this day. They were vocal. They're like, fuck, you're not drinking again? Like, damn, Maddie, you're not fucking drinking? God. Because I was the one that you could go drink with, and I was the one that you could be extra bad with. That was me. I'm not judging you based on what the fuck you got going on. I'm doing way worse shit than that. So people can really let down their walls around me, and that was taken away from them. And they were patient with me, and they met me in the middle every single time. And your friends love you immensely. Because even though this was going to be a new girl they didn't know, they wanted to work for it, and they wanted to be around me. And honestly, I didn't even lose anyone. Some of the friends that I had in active use are some of my best friends now, to this day. And not to say like they worked for it to sound like a bitch, but they had to change and they had to adjust, and they were more than willing to do so in a way that I explained that of them being beautiful and so kind and so sweet. And I had judged them and had this preconceived notion that I'm nothing without alcohol. And that was me projecting my beliefs of myself onto my friends. And it wasn't real. And at the end of the day, what they want simply is for you to be happy and healthy. I don't know you, and I don't know your friends. Well, I might know you. Love you. And I don't know your friends, but I can tell you that is how every situation looks. And they mean that. That is an innate thing. That is something that we want for each other. It's natural. That's why I can say your friends want that. They want you to be happy, and they want you to be healthy. And then also, my friends were the ones that helped me understand boundaries. They taught me boundaries. Because my requests weren't denied. They weren't shut down. Even if people were like, well, Maddie, this, that, I say no. And they go out on a limb to meet me in the middle and to help me with that and to be there for me. And they allowed me to see that my boundaries were never asking too much, because they would never, ever think that of me. They might be like, oh, I have to go a little bit out of my way from Maddie, or I have to do this extra thing. But they are more than willing. Ultimately, respected me and respected my sobriety. And that was a standpoint of how you stay in my life. And I grew that later, but the main thing is that I see that you show respect for my sobriety, because that's the most important thing in my life. That's all my life. And I require you to show that to me. And that is not something that is hard for people to do. When people love you, again, it's innate. They don't have to try. And that's because I didn't have to have a backbone to do all this. They were there. And I didn't count on them to be. I didn't think they would be, but they were. And that showed me that I was loved, and ultimately they would do the work for me. They would help me. And I don't know how to say that. Do the work for me is a stretch. Like in terms of strength and on my boundary building, they did that for me. I didn't have to go out and yearn for that. I didn't have to break necks. I didn't have to go tell people off or tell people this and that. Everything fell into place exactly where it was supposed to be. That was with minimal effort, without having a backbone, and while being a pushover. And while desperately, desperately clinging to the fact that I would lose my friends and wanting them more than anything. And I didn't change. I didn't mirror. I didn't become somebody new so that they would love me. I did it for myself. And they encouraged that behavior. And I think, too, there's this thing that you cannot feel the dopamine of alcohol. It's literally impossible. Your brain is at this receptive high of something that, like, if that's what you go to in life, then your brain scientifically cannot reach a higher level because you went for a walk. There is nothing that fills that void. There isn't. Over time, it does. But when you understand that, not in a way to deter you, but in a way for you to understand you don't have to fill that. That can be painful. Does that mean you're a bad person? Does that maybe mean that you have substance issues? Maybe not all the time. But you trying to fill it is what's going to take you back to drinking. And what's going to make you go out and make a disastrous choice. Because we all know when you restrict things, typically you end up binging, whatever that is. And that's a normal human response. But just because you spent your credit card a certain amount of times or went on this walk or got your favorite coffee or did whatever, it's not going to fill those receptors for you. And I wish I had known that too, because I felt crazy and I felt like a piece of shit. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, nothing is filling that. And it didn't have to. Because over time, eventually, that was something that I grew into. And now the things that I love are so different. And the things that give me dopamine and give me those hits is so much different than what it used to look like in my life. And that didn't take too long of time for my brain to repair itself and to begin to look for this beauty. Because the true beauty and the true fun in life is innocent. It's relaxing. It's innocent. It's not like vulgar and painted in this way like going out and drinking kind of is. You yearn for an innocence, and you yearn to get back to your childhood and back to your roots. And I had to stop thinking in this short term because I had a full life to live. And everyone understands that pain. People understand exactly what you're running from because they're running too. And it might look more cohesive. They might have gotten a better grip on it. They might be more quiet about it. They might hide it away in their closet. They're running from something too. And they fully understand to every degree where you are coming from. And if they are jealous, if they want to leave your life, if they can't be there for you, it's because they feel that pain the worst. And that's what I don't know if that's the truth, but that's kind of what I articulated up to be. The people that were the rudest about it or the most jealous, they were suffering their own great pains. And they didn't have the courage to overcome that like you may have sitting here today. Because everyone else feels it too. And you don't have to hide who you are. You don't have to hide the way you feel about it. This whole pain that you kind of do feel that you're lying to yourself about going out is something that everyone understands. And whether they paint it and put a different face on it and call it a fucking pig, it's no fucking pig. Is that the saying? I don't know. Girl, I need to get back in bed. These are just some things to de-influence you from drinking today, okay? We will continue to talk in the future, but for now, I'm going to watch The Perch, I guess, to calm myself down because I have severe mental issues and I'm a nutcase. So I love you, and I'll see you after COVID. Have a great week. Bye.